Why does sleep feel so unreachable, even when you're exhausted? This is episode 1 of 14 handcrafted Zen stories for deep sleep that cure insomnia naturally, helping you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake with a calmer mind. A gentle, proven path for stress relief and lasting inner peace, where ancient wisdom meets your modern struggles. Tonight, you'll be guided through The Empty Boat, a Zen parable about releasing blame and finding stillness in the midst of life's collisions. As each word flows, you'll drift away from the weight of your day, the thoughts, the tension, the silent heaviness you've been carrying, and closer to the quiet space where deep sleep and true peace begin naturally. Each chapter of this 14-part journey weaves timeless Buddhist wisdom with modern science, guiding you step by step toward a peace that lingers beyond sleep. And though tonight begins with an empty boat, far ahead lies a hidden bridge, a moment in the final episode where every step of this journey gathers into a single crossing and life, as you know it, quietly transforms. So settle in, let your shoulders drop, and if you feel called to, share softly in the comments the place where this moment is finding you, because though we may be scattered across the world, here in this stillness, we breathe as one. The parable of the empty boat. What if the anger you feel is merely a ripple, meeting an empty boat adrift on a quiet river? Close your eyes and allow the world to fade. Let go of the day. Let go of the room you are in. There is a confession your heart has been waiting to make, a silent truth that hums beneath the noise of your thoughts. It's a feeling of being pushed, of being struck by invisible forces, a restless sense that the world is demanding something you don't have to give. Perhaps it feels like you are navigating a crowded river in the dark, constantly bracing for impact, your shoulders tight with the expectation of a collision. This is the invisible pain of a mind that has been rowing too hard for too long. It is the exhaustion of believing you must steer against every current, fend off every stray vessel. But tonight, we will learn a different way, a way of stillness, a way of deep, healing peace. Picture yourself on a serene lake at dawn, mist curling over the water, your boat gliding silently. The air is cool and soft against your skin, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant pines. The only sound is the gentle lap of water against the hull, a quiet, rhythmic whisper. SHHHH, listen. In this place, the world slows down for you now. You are safe. You are held by the stillness of the water. Another boat drifts toward you, a dark shape in the silver mist, emerging slowly, carried only by the silent current. It moves without purpose, without a hand on its tiller. It is simply adrift, an object of the river's quiet will. In this moment, there is no threat. There is only the gentle, inevitable drift of things. Let this image hold you. Let it soothe the part of you that is always on watch. Breathe. The story that follows is an old one, a piece of timeless wisdom carried down through centuries, like a smooth river stone. It is a story about a man, a boat, and a moment of sudden, startling clarity. Let this story become your dream. A man, a scholar of Zen, decided to meditate on the river. He found a small, sturdy boat and rowed out to the very center of the lake, where the water was deepest and the silence was most profound. He closed his eyes, settled his posture, and began to follow his breath. Inhale the cool morning air. Exhale the release of tension. The sun began to climb, warming his face. The mist began to thin. For a long while, there was only peace, a deep, resonant stillness that seemed to emanate from the water itself and fill his entire being. He felt his mind quiet, the usual chatter fading into a gentle hum, like the distant sound of the wind. And then a sudden, jarring thud. His boat rocked violently. His eyes flew open, his meditation shattered. Anger, hot and immediate, flared in his chest. Who could be so careless, so rude as to disturb his peace in this vast, open space? He turned, his voice already forming a sharp rebuke, ready to shout at the fool who had crashed into him. He prepared to unleash the fire of his frustration, the story of his interrupted peace, the judgment of another's incompetence. But as he looked, he saw it. The other boat was empty. There was no one there, no careless fisherman, no joyful youth, no one to blame. It was just an empty boat, untethered from the shore, that had drifted on the current and bumped into his. In that instant, his anger had nowhere to go. It was a wave that rose to crash against a shore that wasn't there, a fire with no fuel. And so it dissolved. It simply vanished, sinking back into the calm, quiet water from which it had arisen. He looked at the empty boat, bobbing gently beside his own, and a slow smile spread across his face. He understood. So too are the actions that stir us. They are not personal, but drift from causes unseen. To see the empty boat is to release the fire of anger, letting it dissolve into the water's stillness. How many times a day, a week, a lifetime, do we find our peace disturbed by an empty boat? That car that cuts you off in traffic, it is an empty boat, piloted by a person lost in their own storm of thoughts, their own unseen currents of stress, lateness, or distraction. It was never about you. That sharp email from a colleague, it is an empty boat, sent adrift by pressures at their job, insecurities you cannot see, a bad night's sleep. The words were not aimed at your heart. They were simply cargo on a vessel they had lost control of. That thoughtless comment from a loved one, an empty boat. It drifted from a place of their own fear, their own history, their own unhealed wounds. It bumped into you, but its journey did not begin with you. Your mind, right now, might be a busy harbor filled with these boats. Each one represents a grievance, a resentment, a story of being wronged. You stand on the shore, pointing at each one, shouting, You bumped into me. You ruined my peace. And so you remain disturbed. You remain in a state of high alert. A harbor master policing every vessel, exhausting yourself with the impossible task of controlling the tides. The wisdom of Zen, the wisdom of Buddhist psychology, is not to build stronger walls around your harbor. It is not to become a better shouter. It is to look closer with eyes of compassion and clarity, and to see that all the boats are empty. They are phenomena, drifting through the vast space of existence, moved by a million complex, impersonal causes and conditions. Just like the weather, just like the changing of the seasons. You would not rage at a cloud for raining on you. You would not hold a grudge against the wind for being cold. You would simply notice it, perhaps put on a coat, and allow it to be what it is. This is the practice of letting go, not a passive surrender, but an active, courageous recognition of reality. It is the practice of emotional release, of freeing yourself from the prison of personal offense. Let's bring this into your body. Feel the places where you hold onto these collisions. Perhaps it's a tightness in your jaw, a knot in your shoulders, a clenching in your stomach. Each one is a memory of an impact, a place where you are still bracing against an empty boat that has long since drifted away. Breathe into that space. As you inhale, imagine you are gathering all that tension, all that stored anger and resentment into a single point of light. And as you exhale, slowly, completely, imagine you are watching that light dissolve, just as the man's anger dissolved on the water. Let the silence speak where words no longer matter. In this stillness, you can begin to understand the neuroscience of this process. When you feel personally attacked, your amygdala, the brain's ancient alarm system, fires up. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing you for a fight that exists only in your interpretation. But when you see the empty boat, when you depersonalize the event, you engage your prefrontal cortex, the seat of wisdom, reason, and calm. You are consciously choosing not to fuel the fire. You are letting the wave of reactivity pass without being swept away by it. This is a powerful form of mental relaxation and a direct path to inner peace. It is a Buddhist meditation technique you can practice anytime, anywhere. When the feeling of anger or irritation arises, you can gently say to yourself, "Ah, an empty boat." No judgment, no need to suppress the feeling, just a quiet, compassionate label, empty boat. In doing so, you create a space between the stimulus and your response. In that space lies your freedom. In that space, you can fall asleep. You can find rest. Imagine yourself floating gently down a quiet river of deep sleep. Each thought that arises is just another empty boat drifting by on the current. You don't need to climb aboard. You don't need to push it away. You don't even need to know where it came from or where it's going. You can simply watch it float past from the quiet safety of your own gentle breath. A thought about yesterday, an empty boat. A worry about tomorrow, another empty boat. A flicker of anger, an empty boat. You are the calm, witnessing presence, the still water that holds everything without being disturbed. Nothing to fix, nothing to chase. Everything is okay. This is the healing from within that so many Zen stories point toward. It's not about changing the world outside of you, but about changing the way you meet it. This is the secret to calming anxiety at night. The world will continue to send its boats. They will drift and bump and sometimes collide. But they no longer have power over your inner state. You have discovered the secret. They are all empty. But what of the burdens you carry? The ones that feel so heavy they could sink your own boat. What about the things you can't seem to put down, long after the river has been crossed? In the tale of the monk and the woman at the river, you'll see how to set them down, freeing your heart to float unencumbered. For now, just rest in this knowing. The anger you felt was a misunderstanding. The offense you took was a case of mistaken identity. You were blaming a pilot who was never there. Let that recognition soothe you. Let it wash over you like a gentle tide, cleansing the shores of your mind. Let go, let go, let go. Anger fades when we see no one steers the boat. Only the current of life moves it. There is so much peace available in this one simple shift of perspective. A profound, restful sleep awaits you in this spaciousness. A calm mind is your birthright. It is the still water that was there before the first boat ever arrived, and the water that will remain long after the last one has drifted from sight. You are that stillness, that deep, quiet, unshakable peace, like a river carrying the boat away. Let your burdens drift to the monk who waits by the water's edge. The monk and the woman at the river. Why do you carry what you've already set down? This question, so simple and yet so profound, echoes from the heart of this Zen story. A gentle invitation to examine the invisible burdens that weigh on your spirit long after the moment of effort has passed. So many of us are walking through our lives carrying ghosts on our backs, the ghosts of yesterday's arguments, last week's mistakes, last year's regrets. We believe we have moved on, but the tension in our shoulders, the worry in our gut, the looping thoughts in our mind at 3 a.m. tell a different story. They say, I am still carrying her. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and take a slow, deep breath. Breathe into the part of you that feels heavy, the part that is tired of carrying so much. Let this story be a soft place for you to land, a quiet space to learn the art of letting go. Imagine a path winding through a lush, green forest. Sunlight filters through the canopy, dappling the mossy ground with patterns of light and shadow. You can hear the distant sound of rushing water, a steady, soothing rhythm. A river rushes before you, its waters sparkling under sunlight, reeds swaying gently at its edge. The water is wide, and the current is strong, a powerful, living force of nature. 2 monks in simple robes stand at its edge. They have been walking for many miles, a journey of silent meditation and mindfulness. One monk is older, his face a map of serene wrinkles, his eyes clear and calm. The other is younger, his expression earnest and intense, his mind diligently following the strict rules of their monastic order. Beside them stands a young woman, dressed in fine silks, but looking distressed. The river is too swift for her to cross alone. She looks at the monks with pleading eyes, her journey halted by this beautiful, powerful obstacle. The younger monk looks away, his vows clear in his mind. A monk must not touch a woman. It is a rule, a boundary meant to keep the mind pure and free from distraction. He stands rigidly, caught between his training and the reality of the woman's need. But the older monk simply smiles. He sees not a temptation, not a rule to be broken, fellow human being who needs help. Without a word, he walks to the woman, bends down, and gestures for her to climb onto his back. She does so gratefully. The old monk, with steady steps, wades into the cool, rushing water. He braces himself against the current, his focus entirely on the task at hand, to carry this person safely to the other side. The younger monk watches, his mind reeling. He is shocked, confused, and a little bit outraged. How could his master, a man of such discipline, so casually break such a fundamental rule? He crosses the river by himself, his feet cold in the water, his mind hot with judgment. On the far bank, the old monk gently sets the woman down. She thanks him profusely, bows with deep respect, and continues on her way down a different path. The two monks resume their journey. They walk on in silence. 1 mile passes. 2 miles. The forest is peaceful. The birds are singing. But the younger monk's mind is a thunderstorm of silent accusation. He replays the scene over and over. The touch, the rule, the transgression. He rehearses his speech, his confrontation. He feels the weight of his master's perceived sin as if it were his own. It grows heavier with every step. Finally, after nearly 5 miles of this inner turmoil, he can bear it no longer. He bursts out, his voice tight with suppressed emotion. "Master, how could you do that? Our vows forbid us to touch a woman. Why did you carry her across the river?" The old monk stops walking. He turns to his young companion, his eyes filled not with defensiveness, but with a gentle, loving compassion. A soft smile touches his lips, and he says very quietly, "I set her down at the river miles ago. Why are you still carrying her?" Let those words land in your heart. I set her down. Why are you still carrying her? This is the question the universe is asking you tonight, as you lie here, seeking rest, seeking deep sleep. What are you still carrying? Is it the weight of a conversation that didn't go your way? The sting of a criticism you received at work? The burden of a mistake you made, a path you didn't take, a word you wish you could take back? These things are the woman at the river. The event itself happened. It required your energy and attention for a moment, and then it was over. You crossed the river. You set her down. And yet, here you are, miles down the road, in the quiet of your own mind, and you are still carrying her. The weight of her is in your thoughts, replaying, analyzing, judging. The effort of carrying her is in the tension of your body. The story of her is what is keeping you from the present moment, from the peace that is available to you right now. This is a core teaching of Buddhist psychology. So much of our suffering, our insomnia, our anxiety, comes not from the events of our lives, but from our refusal to let them go. We cling to them. We identify with them. We let the past occupy the only space where life is actually happening. Right here, right now. This clinging is a function of the mind's default mode network, DMN, the part of the brain that is active when we are not focused on a specific task. It loves to ruminate, to time travel to the past and future, to tell stories about me and my problems. The younger monk was deep in his DMN, lost in a mental narrative of rules, judgment, and grievance. The older monk was fully in the present moment. For him, there was only the task at hand. Carry the woman, set her down, walk on. The event left no residue, no lingering thought, because he was completely present for it, and then completely present for what came next. To live now is to set down what you carried yesterday, leaving only the river's flow. This is a form of emotional healing that is profoundly simple and accessible. It is a letting go guided meditation in action. Let's practice this together with the breath. Bring to mind something you have been carrying. Don't choose the heaviest thing, just a small pebble of a memory, a minor irritation from your day. See it clearly in your mind. Feel the familiar weight of it. Notice the story your mind tells about it. Now take a long, slow inhale, and as you do, imagine you are the old monk, lifting that burden, acknowledging its presence without judgment. Ah, this is what I have been carrying. And now, as you exhale, a long, full, complete release. Imagine you are setting it down on the riverbank. You are letting it go. It is no longer your story to carry. You can watch it recede into the distance as you walk on, your back lighter, your mind clearer. Let's do it again. Inhale, acknowledging the weight. I see you. Exhale, releasing the grip. I set you down. One more time. Breathe in, gathering it up one last time. Breathe out and let it completely dissolve. You are walking on now. The path ahead is clear. The only sound is your own steady footfalls on the earth, your own gentle breath. This is the practice. It's not about never picking up a burden. Life will always present us with rivers to cross. The practice is in learning to set them down again, and again, and again. This is how you calm anxiety at night. When the mind starts its frantic storytelling, its parade of past grievances, you can gently say to each one, I set you down at the river. You don't have to fight the thought. You don't have to believe it. You just recognize that you are still carrying it, and you make the gentle choice to let it go. Let this be a mantra for your restful sleep tonight. With every exhale, a release. With every breath, a step forward into the peace of the present moment. Let the silence hold you. Let the story of the monks become a part of your own wisdom. You have the capacity to live with a light heart, to walk unburdened. It is simply a matter of noticing what you are carrying and choosing, with compassion for yourself, to set it down. Yet what of the pain we carry? The kind that feels less like a burden we chose and more like a wound that was inflicted. What about the sharp, sudden sting of loss or failure? A pain that strikes like an arrow from the shadows. In the parable of the two arrows, we'll discover how to pull free from the second wound, the one we inflict upon ourselves. For now, there is nothing left to carry. The woman is on her way. The river is flowing behind you. The path ahead is bathed in soft, gentle light. There is only this breath, this moment, this stillness. To live now is to set down what you carried yesterday, leaving only the river's flow. And in that flow, you can drift into a deep, restorative sleep, your mind as clear and unburdened as the sky after a storm. As the river's current carries away the monk's burden, so too does an arrow's flight lead us to a deeper truth. The parable of the two arrows. When pain strikes, why do we shoot a second arrow into our own heart? This question, posed by the Buddha himself, is one of the most compassionate and practical inquiries in all of spiritual psychology. It holds the key to transforming our relationship with suffering, and it is a beacon of light for anyone who struggles with anxiety, grief, or the relentless voice of the inner critic. Tonight, as you seek the release of deep sleep, we will explore this profound teaching. We will learn to distinguish the pain that life gives us from the suffering we create for ourselves. Let your body soften into the surface beneath you. Feel the gentle pull of gravity, a quiet, steady anchor to the present moment. Let go of any effort to be anywhere but here. Imagine yourself walking through a forest at dusk. The air is cool, the light is fading, and the world is growing quiet. The path is soft with fallen leaves, and the trees stand like silent, ancient sentinels. There is a deep peace in this place, a sense of timeless stillness. Suddenly, you feel a sharp, searing pain in your arm. You cry out, your breath catching in your throat. You look down, and you see an arrow has pierced your arm. It came from the shadows, unexpected, uninvited. The pain is real. It is sharp, and it is unavoidable. This, the Buddha taught, is the first arrow. The first arrow is the inevitable pain of human existence. It is sickness, loss, rejection, failure. It is the death of a loved one, the end of a relationship, a sudden diagnosis, an unexpected setback. It is the simple, painful truth that life includes experiences we do not want and cannot control. No amount of meditation, no amount of wisdom can make you immune to the first arrow. It is part of the contract of being alive. So you stand there in the forest, the first arrow in your arm. The pain is coursing through you. And what happens next? What is your first thought? For most of us, the reaction is not one of simple, clean pain. Instead, a story immediately begins. Why me? This is terrible. I can't believe this happened. This shouldn't be happening. Who did this to me? I'll never recover from this. This is a disaster. My walk is ruined. My life is ruined. We begin to catastrophize. We blame. We resist. We fall into despair. And in our hand, another arrow appears. An arrow of our own making. And in our panic and rage and fear, we take that second arrow and we plunge it into our own heart. This is the second arrow. The second arrow is our reaction to the first. It is the suffering we add on top of the initial pain. It is the resentment, the self-pity, the fear, the anger, the guilt, the shame. It is the story we tell ourselves about the pain. The first arrow is painful. The second arrow is torturous. The first arrow is clean. The second arrow is poison. The first arrow is finite. The second arrow can be shot again, and again, and again, for a lifetime. The Buddha taught that the path to easing our suffering is not to try to dodge all the first arrows. That is impossible. The path is to learn not to shoot the second one. This is a revolutionary act of self-compassion. It is a core tenet of Buddhist mindfulness and a cornerstone of modern therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy act. It is the recognition that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So how do we do this? How do we lay down the bow? It begins with awareness. It begins in the moment the first arrow strikes. Instead of immediately reacting, we learn to pause, to breathe, to simply be with the raw, physical sensation of the pain without adding a story to it. Let's try this now in a gentle way. Bring to mind a small pain from your life right now. A minor frustration, a small disappointment, a slight physical discomfort, a tiny first arrow. Now notice the sensation in your body. Is it a tightness, a heat, an ache? notice the physical reality of it. Be curious, like a scientist observing a phenomenon. And now listen for the story. Listen for the voice of the second arrow. What is it saying? This is annoying. It shouldn't be like this. This is my fault. This will never end. Just listen. No judgment. You are simply noticing the mechanism. You are seeing the second arrow as it is being formed. And now, see if you can separate the two. Acknowledge the first arrow. Yes, there is pain here. There is discomfort. You meet it with acceptance. You allow it to be there, just as it is. And then you look at the second arrow, the story, the judgment, the fear, and you gently, consciously decide not to shoot it. You can say to yourself, this is the second arrow. This is just a story. I don't have to believe it. I can let this one go. As you lie here, preparing for sleep, you may notice many second arrows flying through your mind. Worries about not being able to fall asleep. What if I can't sleep? Tomorrow will be a disaster. I'm so bad at sleeping. This is a classic second arrow. The first arrow is simply the sensation of being awake. That's all. It's a neutral physical state. The second arrow is the story of panic and catastrophe you build around it. Can you, just for this moment, let go of that story? Can you rest in the simple fact of being awake without the added layer of suffering? Can you feel the sheets against your skin? Hear the quiet sounds of the room. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest, and just be with that. This is how you make yourself fall asleep, not by fighting wakefulness, but by taking the suffering out of it. You remove the second arrow, and in that space of non-resistance, the body's natural wisdom can take over. Sleep comes when we stop fighting for it. This practice is a profound act of emotional healing. It teaches you to be your own sanctuary. When life wounds you with a first arrow, you learn to tend to the wound with compassion rather than stabbing yourself again. Think about the energy it takes to keep shooting that second arrow. The mental rumination, the physical tension, the emotional turmoil. It is exhausting. It is the source of so much chronic stress, and for many, insomnia. To lay down the bow is to conserve that energy for healing. It is to create a space of inner peace where your nervous system can downregulate, where your vagal tone can increase, and where your body can find its way back to a state of rest and digest. The world will always have its share of first arrows. That is the nature of a human life. But you hold the power to choose your response. You can choose to meet pain with resistance, or you can choose to meet it with gentle, open-hearted awareness. One path leads to more suffering. The other leads to resilience, to peace, and ultimately to freedom. Let your breath be the anchor for this practice tonight. As you inhale, feel the breath gently touching the places of pain or discomfort in your body, the first arrows. Acknowledge them with kindness. I feel you. As you exhale, imagine you are releasing the story about the pain. You are letting go of the judgment, the fear, the resistance. You are laying down the second arrow. Inhale, being with what is. Exhale, letting go of what you add. Pain is fleeting, but suffering lingers only as long as we hold the bow. In this moment, the bow is in your hands. You can feel its familiar weight, but you don't have to draw the string. You can gently place it on the soft forest floor beside you. And you can turn your attention to the feeling of the earth beneath you, the coolness of the air on your skin, the quiet, rhythmic pulse of your own heart. But can we find sweetness even as arrows fly? Can there be a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, even when we are hanging by a thread, surrounded by danger? In the story of the monk and the strawberry, you'll taste the joy that blooms even in peril, waiting for us to notice. For now, rest in the space you have created, the space between the arrows. It is a space of quiet, of relief, of profound peace. It is the space where healing happens. It is the space where you can finally, deeply rest. Let this story be your gentle guide into the land of dreams, a world where there are no second arrows, only the soft release into stillness. From the arrow's sting, a sweetness calls, like a strawberry ripening in the monk's trembling hand. The monk and the strawberry. Can you taste the sweetness of now, even as the world trembles beneath you? This question is not a demand for spiritual perfection. It is a tender, urgent whisper from the heart of Zen, an invitation to discover a source of joy so profound, so immediate, that it can be found even in the most precarious of moments. So often, we postpone our happiness. We tell ourselves, I will be at peace when my problems are solved, my health is better, my finances are secure, my anxieties are gone. We live in a future that never arrives, overlooking the small, perfect, and utterly real joys that are available in this very moment. Tonight, we will tell a story that collapses that illusion, a story that finds the eternal in the instant and sweetness on the edge of the abyss. Let this story be a medicine for the part of you that is always waiting, always striving, and rarely arriving. Close your eyes and let the outside world dissolve. Imagine yourself on a narrow mountain path. On one side, a sheer cliff drops into a misty, bottomless canyon. On the other, a steep rock face rises to the sky. The path is rough and uncertain. Suddenly, you hear a sound behind you, a low, guttural roar. You turn, and your heart leaps into your throat. A huge, ferocious tiger is padding towards you, its eyes fixed on you, its muscles coiled to spring. There is no way to go back. Your only hope is to go forward. But as you turn, you see another tiger ahead, blocking the path, licking its chops. You are trapped. Above you, an unscalable cliff. Behind and before you, certain death. In a moment of pure, instinctual panic, you see a single, thick vine hanging down the side of the cliff. You grab it, and without a second thought, you swing yourself out over the vast emptiness of the canyon, dangling between the sky and the abyss. You hang from a cliff, vines slipping through your fingers, the tigers pacing and roaring above you. You look down, hoping for a ledge, a way to escape. But far below, you see a third tiger looking up, waiting for you to fall. The situation is utterly hopeless. Your grip on the vine is weakening. Your arms are trembling with exhaustion. And then, to make matters worse, you hear a tiny, gnawing sound. You look up and see two small mice, one white and one black, nibbling at the top of the vine where it meets the rock. The white mouse represents the day. The black mouse represents the night. Relentlessly, tirelessly, they are chewing through your only lifeline. It is only a matter of time. The tigers of the past and future are above you. The tiger of annihilation is below you. The relentless passage of time, day and night, is severing your connection to life itself. This is the human condition in all its terrifying, precarious glory. We are all, in some way, hanging from this vine. The past we cannot change pursues us. The future we cannot control blocks our way. Death awaits us all below, and time is steadily, inevitably, eating away at our life. What can one do in such a situation? What is the appropriate response to such a terrifying, hopeless predicament? The monk in the story, hanging there, his life measured in moments, his body trembling, does something extraordinary. He doesn't scream. He doesn't despair. He doesn't curse his fate. He simply notices something. Out of the corner of his eye, growing from a tiny crevice in the cliff face, just within his reach, is a single wild strawberry. It is perfectly ripe, glowing like a tiny red jewel against the gray rock. A drop of dew glistens on its tip. And in that moment, with the tigers roaring and the mice nibbling, the monk reaches out his free hand, plucks the strawberry from the vine, and puts it in his mouth. And the story ends with a single sentence: "How sweet it tasted." Let the full weight of that sink in. How sweet it tasted. This is not a story about ignoring danger. The tigers are real. The mice are real. The fall is real. This is a story about the power of the present moment. It is a story about where we choose to place our attention, even and especially when life is at its most intense. The monk chose not to focus on the terrifying past he couldn't escape, or the terrifying future he couldn't avoid. He chose not to fixate on the inevitable decay of his lifeline. He chose to place his entire being, his full, undivided attention, on the one thing that was real, beautiful, and available to him in that singular moment: the strawberry. In that moment of tasting, there were no tigers, there were no mice, there was no abyss. There was only the explosion of sweetness on his tongue. There was only the present moment, lived so fully, so completely, that it became eternal. This is the core of Buddhist mindfulness, the secret to calming anxiety and finding joy in the midst of life's challenges. Your life, right now, is filled with strawberries. You are surrounded by them, but your attention is so often fixed on the tigers. The tigers are your worries about your job, your health, your relationships. They are the regrets from your past and the fears for your future. The mice are the constant sense of time slipping away, the feeling of not enough time. And so you hang there in a state of chronic stress, your nervous system in a constant state of fight or flight, completely oblivious to the sweetness that is right there within your reach. What is your strawberry right now in this moment? Is it the feeling of the soft blanket against your skin? That is a strawberry. Is it the simple, miraculous rhythm of your own breath, flowing in and out without any effort from you? That is a strawberry. Is it the quiet in the room around you, a small pocket of peace in a noisy world? That is a strawberry. Is it the feeling of your head resting on the pillow, the simple, profound relief of letting your body be held and supported? That is a strawberry. To taste the strawberry is to choose presence over fear. It is a radical act of love for this one precious moment of your life. It is a way of healing from within, by shifting your attention from what is wrong to what is right, from what is threatening to what is nourishing. This is not about spiritual bypassing or positive thinking. It is about acknowledging the whole of reality. Yes, the tigers are there. We don't deny them. strawberry is also there, and it is just as real. Why would we give all our attention to the tigers and none to the strawberry? This practice is a powerful antidote to insomnia, which is so often caused by a mind fixated on the tigers of what if. What if I don't sleep? What if I'm tired tomorrow? What if my health suffers? These are the roars that keep us awake. Tonight, can you let the tigers roar? Can you let the mice nibble? And can you, just for a moment, turn your attention to the strawberry of this present moment? Feel the sensation of your breath. That is your strawberry. Taste it. Savor its simple, life-giving sweetness. Let it fill your awareness. When a thought of a tiger comes, a worry or a fear, you can acknowledge it. Ah, a tiger. And then gently, lovingly, bring your attention back to the strawberry of your breath. Each moment offers a strawberry, small but vivid, if only we pause to taste it. This is not a striving, it is a resting, it is a softening of your attention, letting it land on something simple, something real, something sweet. In this moment, you are not hanging from a cliff. You are safe in your bed, and yet the practice is the same. Let go of the past and future. Let go of the story of time and taste the sweetness of right now. And what of the losses that weigh on us all? The griefs that feel so personal, so isolating. They seem to eclipse any possible sweetness. In the parable of the mustard seed, you'll find a seed of sorrow that grows into compassion, binding us to one another in our shared humanity. For now, there is only this one perfect strawberry, the gentle sensation of air entering your nostrils, the subtle fall of your chest as you release the breath. Savor it. Let its simple, profound sweetness be the last thing you know before you drift into a deep and peaceful sleep. Let this story be the gentle dream that carries you through the night, a reminder that even in the darkest of canyons, a small red fruit can hold the entire universe of joy. The strawberry's sweetness fades, yet a mustard seed's lesson blooms to heal our shared wounds. The parable of the mustard seed. What if your sorrow is a seed that connects you to all who suffer? We often experience our grief as a profound isolation. When loss strikes, it can feel as though a wall of glass has descended between us and the rest of the world. Others may try to reach us, but their words can sound hollow, their comfort distant. We feel utterly, uniquely alone in our pain. It is my pain, my loss, my unbearable sorrow. This feeling of separation is one of the most painful aspects of grief. It is a second arrow we shoot into our own hearts, the story that our suffering cuts us off from the human family. But tonight, we will hear a story that shatters that illusion. A story that takes the most personal and isolating of pains, the death of a child, and transforms it into a doorway to profound connection and universal compassion. It is a piece of timeless wisdom from the Buddha himself, a soothing spiritual story for any heart that has known loss. Let your body be heavy and soft. Let go of the need to hold yourself together. Allow yourself to be held by the quiet, gentle presence of this moment. Imagine a small, dusty village in ancient India, baked by the sun. The air is thick with the scent of spices and earth. The sounds are of distant voices, the lowing of cattle, the rhythm of daily life. A woman walks through this village. Her name is Kisa Gautami, but she is not walking. She is stumbling, running, her eyes wild with grief, her hair disheveled. In her arms, she clutches the small, still body of her only child. He had been bitten by a snake, and he had died. But she cannot accept it. Her mind, shattered by sorrow, refuses to believe it. She runs from person to person, from house to house, begging for a medicine that will bring her son back to life. Please, she cries, her voice raw with desperation. Give me medicine for my boy. The villagers look at her with pity and sadness. They know there is no medicine for death. She has lost her senses, they whisper. The poor woman is mad with grief. They try to be kind, but they have no help to offer. They turn away, unable to bear the sight of her raw, unbearable pain. This only deepens her isolation. Her private agony is now a public spectacle. Finally, a wise old man sees her and is moved by a deep compassion. He does not dismiss her. He does not tell her to accept reality. He leans in gently and says, I cannot give you medicine for your child, but I know a physician who can. Go to the Buddha. He is the enlightened one, the great healer. He will have the cure you seek. A flicker of hope ignites in her heart. She clutches her child tighter and runs to the place where the Buddha is teaching. She bursts through the crowd, falls at his feet, and lays her son before him. Lord and Master, she weeps, give me the medicine that will cure my boy. The Buddha looks at her, and his eyes are not filled with pity, but with a vast, loving, and profound understanding. He sees not a madwoman, but a heart broken open by the universal pain of loss. He does not offer her false comfort or a philosophical lecture. He meets her exactly where she is, in her desperate search for a magical cure. He says to her, You have done well to come to me. There is indeed a cure, but to make it, I require a special ingredient. What is it? She asks, her voice trembling with hope. I will get it. I will get anything. I need, the Buddha says calmly, a single handful of mustard seeds. A mustard seed, she says, relieved. That is simple. I can get that from any house in the village. There is one condition, the Buddha adds, his voice gentle but firm. The mustard seed must be taken from a house where no one has ever lost a child, a husband, a parent, or a friend. It must come from a home that has never been touched by death. Her hope surges. The task seems possible. Surely, in all the village, there must be one such happy, unblemished home. She thanks the Buddha, bows, and with her child still in her arms, she begins her quest. She goes to the first house, knocks on the door, and says, "The Buddha has sent me. I need a mustard seed to make a medicine for my child. Can you give me one?" "Of course," the woman at the door says kindly, and goes to her pantry. "But wait," Kisagatami says, remembering the condition. "Has anyone in this house ever known death? Have you lost a loved one?" The woman's face saddens. "Ah," she says quietly, "the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind me of my deepest grief. Last year, I lost my husband." Kisagatami's heart sinks a little. She cannot take the seed. She moves to the next house, and the next, and the next. At each door, the story is the same. "I can give you 100 mustard seeds," one man says, "but my eldest son died a few years ago. Please take all the mustard seed you need." Another woman offers, "But do not speak of sorrow. I buried my mother just last moon." She goes from house to house, through the entire village. She speaks to the rich and the poor, the old and the young. And everywhere, she finds the same truth. Every family has a story of loss. Every heart holds a silent grief. Every home has been visited by death. There is no house untouched by sorrow. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the dusty lanes, a profound shift begins to happen within her. Her frantic, personal, isolating grief begins to soften. She is no longer just Kisagatami, the uniquely cursed woman who lost her child. She is Kisagatami, a member of a vast community of human beings who have all known the sting of loss. Her sorrow is not a wall that separates her. It is a bridge that connects her. The tears she weeps are not just for her son, but for the husband in the first house, the mother in the second, the child in the third. In sharing sorrow, her heart opens, and a new feeling begins to bloom where the frantic desperation had been. That feeling is compassion. she finally understands the Buddha's lesson. There is no magical cure that can erase death. The cure is not for the child, it is for her own heart. The cure is the realization of this shared, universal truth. She gently carries her son to the charnel ground outside the village, holds him one last time, and lets him go. Then she returns to the Buddha, empty-handed, but no longer empty-hearted. "Did you bring the mustard seed?" he asks gently. "No, Lord," she says, her voice quiet and clear. "The people of the village told me the living are few, but the dead are many. I could find no house untouched by loss." And in that moment, she is healed, not because her son is alive, but because her heart has opened to the vast, interconnected web of human experience. Her personal grief has become universal compassion. This story offers a profound form of emotional healing for anyone navigating loss. It teaches us that the way through grief is not to try and escape it, but to allow it to connect us more deeply to others. When you feel alone in your sadness, remember Kisa Gatami. Remember that every heart you see carries its own story of loss. The person who serves you coffee, the driver in the car next to you, the face on the screen, they have all known the mustard seed. They have all stood where you stand. Your sorrow does not make you an outcast. It makes you a member. It is your initiation into the deepest club of humanity. And in that recognition, there is a strange and profound comfort. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Your pain is a sacred thread that weaves you into the vast, beautiful, and heartbreaking tapestry of life. Sorrow is a seed that, when shared, grows into the flower of compassion. Yet what of the fleeting nature of all we hold dear? If loss is universal, how do we love the things and people we know we will lose? In the lesson from the wisdom of the already broken teacup, we'll see how accepting impermanence can paradoxically deepen our love, inviting us to hold lightly what must inevitably pass. Tonight, as you rest, let the story of the mustard seed be a balm for your heart. If there is any grief you are holding, any sense of isolation, imagine all the other hearts in the world who are holding a similar pain right now. Breathe in your own sorrow, and as you breathe out a wish of peace for all of them. Inhale your own pain. Exhale compassion for all beings. Let this gentle rhythm carry you into a sleep that is not an escape, but a deep, healing communion with the shared heart of the world. From the mustard seed's quiet grief, a teacup's fragile truth, whispers of love that endures. The wisdom of the already broken teacup? What if the teacup you cherish is already broken? This question at first sounds morbid, pessimistic. Why would we look at something beautiful and whole, something we love, and imagine its destruction? It feels like a betrayal, a way of inviting sorrow into a moment of joy. But in the deep, paradoxical wisdom of Zen, this practice is not a source of sadness, but a gateway to a more profound, vibrant, and fearless kind of love. It is a secret to cherishing the present moment so completely that the fear of future loss begins to lose its power over you. As you settle into stillness, let your mind become quiet and receptive. Let go of your preconceived ideas about happiness and loss. Allow this story to offer you a different perspective, a new way of holding the precious, fragile beauty of your life. Imagine a quiet room. Sunlight streams through a paper screen, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. A Zen master sits on a simple cushion, his presence filling the room with a palpable sense of peace. In his hands, he holds a teacup. It is an exquisite teacup, crafted by a master potter. Its glaze is the color of a twilight sky, with delicate, almost invisible crazing across its surface. It feels perfect in his hands, the weight, the texture, the gentle curve of its lip. It is his favorite teacup. He has had it for many years. He drinks his morning tea from it every single day. A young, eager student comes to see him, his mind full of questions about enlightenment and the nature of reality. He sees the master gazing at the teacup with such deep affection and care. The student, wanting to show he understands the Buddhist teachings on non-attachment, says, "Master, you always teach us not to cling to possessions, but you seem to love that teacup very much. Aren't you afraid that one day it will break?" The master looks up from the teacup, his eyes twinkling with a gentle wisdom. He smiles. "Afraid," he says. "No, I am not afraid. You see, to me, this teacup is already broken." The student is confused. "What do you mean, master? It looks perfectly whole to me. It's beautiful." "Oh, it is beautiful," the master agrees, running his thumb gently over its smooth surface. "And it is whole in this moment. But I know that its nature is to be broken. It is made of clay. It is fragile. Life is full of accidents, a clumsy hand, a tremor in the earth, the simple passage of time. One day, it will surely fall. It will shatter into 100 pieces. Its life as a teacup will be over. Because I know this, because I live with the truth that it is already broken, I am able to cherish it completely every single time I use it. When I fill it with hot tea, I am grateful for the warmth it holds. When I lift it to my lips, I am present for its perfect shape. When I wash it and put it away, I am thankful for its service today. Every moment with it is precious, precisely because I know those moments are finite. I am not living in dread of the day it will break. I am living in celebration of the fact that it is, miraculously, still whole today. And when the day comes that it does break, I will not be shocked or devastated. I will simply say, of course, its time has come, and I will bow to it and thank it for the joy it brought me. This, he explained, is the wisdom of the already broken teacup. Impermanence is not a tragedy to be feared, but a call to cherish the now, to see all things and all people as already broken is to love them without clinging, without the desperate, fearful hope that they will last forever. Think about the things you love in your life, your home, your health, your relationships, your own precious life. We often hold them with a kind of white-knuckled grip, a subtle, constant anxiety humming in the background. Don't break, don't leave, don't end. This fear, this resistance to the fundamental nature of reality, is a form of suffering. It clouds our ability to fully enjoy and appreciate what we have right now. We are so busy worrying about the teacup breaking that we forget to drink the tea. This Zen story invites us into a radical shift. What if you could look at your loved ones, your partner, your child, your friend, and see them in this way, not with a morbid sense of doom, but with a heart cracked open by the sheer, breathtaking preciousness of their presence in your life, right now. You see the already broken nature of their physical form, the inevitability of change and eventual departure. And because of that, every conversation becomes more sacred. Every shared laugh becomes a jewel. Every moment of simple, ordinary presence becomes a miracle. You stop taking them for granted. You stop postponing your love and appreciation. This is not about detachment. It is the opposite. It is the path to the deepest possible attachment, not to the form, but to the essence. Not to the future, but to the now. It is a letting go guided meditation for the heart. This wisdom is a powerful tool for calming the anxiety that comes from our fear of loss. When the mind starts its what-if scenarios, catastrophizing about the future, you can gently bring this image to mind. The already broken teacup. Yes, this body is already broken. It will age, it will get sick, it will die. So today, I will be grateful for the breath that fills my lungs, for the legs that carry me, for the eyes that see the world. I will inhabit it with kindness and care, not out of fear, but out of profound appreciation for its temporary wholeness. Yes, Yes, this relationship is already broken. People change, circumstances shift, life happens. So today, I will listen with my whole heart. I will speak with kindness. I will offer my presence as a gift without demanding that it be returned in kind forever. This is a form of emotional healing that does not require the world to change. It only requires a shift in your perception. It is the understanding that the fragility of life is not a flaw. It is what makes it so incredibly precious. A diamond is beautiful because of its hardness, but a cherry blossom is beautiful because of its fleetingness. Life has the quality of the cherry blossom. To hold the broken teacup is to love fully, knowing it will not last. As you lie here, preparing for deep sleep, feel the already broken nature of this day. It is whole, it is complete, and it will never come again. It is already gone. Can you be grateful for the moments of sweetness it held, the challenges it offered, the simple fact that you were here for it? Let go of the need for it to have been different. Let go of the need for tomorrow to be a certain way. Rest in the peace of this one, perfect, already broken moment. Nothing to fix, nothing to chase. Everything is okay. But how do we face life's daily uncertainties? The constant stream of events that we label as good or bad, fortune or misfortune. If everything is impermanent, how do we navigate the unpredictable flow without being tossed about by every wave? In the story of the farmer's wisdom of maybe, you'll find a path through doubt, where the word maybe becomes a lantern in the fog. For now, just be with the feeling of the teacup in your hands. It is warm, it is whole, it is here, and that is more than enough. Let this gentle awareness be the cradle that rocks you into a deep, trusting, and peaceful sleep. A sleep where you hold nothing and are therefore free to receive everything. The teacup's cracks fade into the farmer's quiet maybe, guiding us through life's shifting mists. The farmer's wisdom of maybe. What if every twist of fate is neither good nor bad, but simply maybe? In our relentless quest for certainty and control, we spend an enormous amount of mental and emotional energy judging the events of our lives. The moment something happens, our mind rushes in to label it. This is good. This is bad. This is a success. This is a disaster. This habit of instant judgment is a primary source of our anxiety and suffering. When we label something good, we cling to it and fear its loss. When we label something bad, we resist it and suffer in our struggle against it. We are constantly riding a roller coaster of our own making, soaring with with elation one moment, plunging into despair the next. But there is another way, a way of profound inner peace and resilience that comes from suspending judgment and embracing the vast, mysterious, and unpredictable nature of life. This is the wisdom of the farmer, a timeless Zen story that offers a powerful antidote to our modern affliction of worry. As you settle in to listen, allow your own judgments to soften. Let go of your stories about how your day went, how your life is going, how things should be. Create a space of open, curious stillness in your mind. Imagine a small, humble farm nestled in a valley, surrounded by rolling hills. The fields are green, the air is clean, and life moves at the slow, steady pace of the seasons. A farmer lives here. He is old but strong, his face weathered by the sun and wind, his eyes holding a deep, quiet calm. He lives with his only son, and together they work the land. One day, the gate to their corral is accidentally left open, and the farmer's only horse, his most prized possession, essential for plowing the fields and carrying goods to market, runs away. His neighbors hear the news and rush over to his house to commiserate. "Oh, what terrible luck," they exclaim. "This is such a great misfortune. How will you ever manage?" They shake their heads in pity. The farmer listens to their chorus of concern, nods slowly, and says only one word: "Maybe." The neighbors are perplexed by his calm response, but they go on their way, clucking their tongues at his terrible fate. A week later, the farmer's horse returns, and it is not alone. It has brought with it a herd of 12 wild, beautiful, and strong stallions. Suddenly, the farmer is not just prosperous, he is wealthy. The neighbors, hearing of this incredible turn of events, rush back to the farmer's house, their faces beaming with excitement. "What amazing luck!" they shout. "This is such a wonderful blessing. Your misfortune has turned into a great fortune." The farmer stands in his field, watching the magnificent horses. He listens to his neighbor's congratulations, nods slowly, and once again, he says only, "Maybe." The neighbors are again baffled, but they leave him to his newfound wealth, whispering about his strange, detached nature. The farmer's son, eager to help with their new assets, begins the difficult work of taming the wild stallions. A few days into the training, one of the powerful horses rears up unexpectedly, throwing the son to the ground. The boy's leg is badly broken. He will be unable to walk, let alone help with the farm work, for many months. The neighbors, ever present, hear the news and come running. "Oh, what a tragedy," they cry. Your great fortune has brought you this terrible disaster. Your son is injured, and you are old. This is the worst luck of all. The farmer sits by his son's bedside, his expression still calm and unreadable. He looks at his neighbors, and for the third time, he offers the same quiet reply, maybe. A few weeks later, the emperor's army marches into the valley. They are conscripting every able-bodied young man for a brutal and hopeless war being fought in a distant land. The soldiers go from house to house, taking the sons from their weeping families. When they come to the farmer's house, they see his son lying in bed with his broken leg. "He is no use to us," the captain says, and they march on, leaving the boy behind. And so, the farmer's son is spared from an almost certain death in the war. The story often ends there, but you can imagine the neighbors returning, and you can imagine the farmer's response. This parable is a profound teaching on the limitations of human perception. We see such a tiny sliver of reality. An event happens, and we rush to judge it based on its immediate consequences, completely unaware of the intricate, invisible web of causes and effects that will unfold from it over days, years, or even lifetimes. The farmer's wisdom is not one of apathy or indifference. He is deeply engaged with his life. He works his farm. He cares for his son. But he does not cling to his interpretations of events. He leaves room for mystery. He leaves room for the unknown. He adopts a maybe mindset to face uncertainty without judgment. In the language of Buddhist psychology, this is the practice of upekkha, or equanimity. It is a spacious, balanced state of mind, rooted in the understanding that we cannot control the flow of life, but we can control our relationship to it. It is the wisdom to know that what looks like a dead end might be a doorway. What looks like a disaster might be a hidden grace. What looks like a victory might contain the seeds of a future challenge. This is a powerful antidote to the anxiety that plagues so many of us. Anxiety is born from the desire to know the future and control it. The maybe mindset gently releases that desire. It allows you to rest in the uncertainty of the present moment without the need to label it or predict its outcome. Think about something you are worried about right now. A situation at work, a health concern, a relationship issue. You have a story about it. A story that says, "This is bad. This is a problem. This is going to lead to a terrible outcome." Can you, just for a moment, hold that story a little more lightly? Can you introduce a gentle maybe? "My project at work is failing. This is a disaster. Maybe this failure will open a door to a new opportunity I can't yet can't see. Maybe it will teach me a lesson I desperately need to learn. I am feeling unwell. This is frightening. Maybe this is my body's wise signal to slow down and rest. Maybe this will lead me to adopt healthier habits that will serve me for the rest of my life. In maybe, we find peace, letting life unfold without our labels. This doesn't mean you do nothing. The farmer still tended his broken-legged son. You still go to the doctor. You still work on your project. But you do it from a place of calm, responsive action, rather than frantic, fearful reaction. You unhook yourself from the emotional roller coaster. This is a profound technique for restful sleep. When your mind is racing at night, cycling through worries and fears, it's because it's caught in the trap of good and bad. It's trying to solve the unsolvable mystery of the future. You can gently introduce the farmer's wisdom. To every worried thought, you can offer a quiet, internal maybe. I won't be able to handle that meeting tomorrow. Maybe. I'll never get over this. Maybe. Things are falling apart. Maybe. Each maybe is an act of surrender. It's a release of the burden of knowing. It's a declaration of trust in a process larger than your own understanding. It is a way of saying to the universe, I don't have the whole story, and that's okay. And in that space of okayness, your nervous system can finally stand down. The fight is over. You can rest. And what of our actions within this unpredictable flow? If we release judgment, how do we know how to act, how to give, how to help? What does it mean to give without clinging to the outcome, without the labels of worthy or unworthy? In the parable of the Buddha and the robe, we'll discover how true generosity flows like a river, nourishing the ground where it's needed most, without calculation or condition. For now, let the word maybe be a soft pillow for your mind. Let it dissolve the hard edges of your certainty, your fear, and your judgment. The horse has run away. Maybe the horse has returned. Maybe. Breathe in the uncertainty. Breathe out the need to know. Rest in the vast, open, and peaceful field of maybe. The farmer's maybe drifts like a breeze, carrying us to the Buddha's open-handed gift. The Buddha and the robe. What does it mean to give with a heart as open as the sky? In a world that often measures worth by status, productivity, and appearance, our acts of giving can become tangled in a web of calculation. We give to those we deem worthy. We give where we think it will have the most impact or bring the most recognition. We give with an eye on the return, whether it's gratitude, a good reputation, or a feeling of self-righteousness. This is not true generosity. It is a transaction disguised as a gift. It carries the subtle tension of expectation and judgment. But there is a different kind of giving, a giving that flows from a place of pure, unadorned compassion. It is a generosity that sees only the need of the present moment, not the story or status of the person in need. This is the heart of Buddhist giving, or dana, and it is beautifully illustrated in a simple story about the Buddha and a robe. This is a story about directing generosity where it is most needed. Let your mind settle into a state of quiet receptivity. Let go of your ideas about charity, about who deserves what, about the right and wrong ways to help. Simply open a space to receive the essence of this teaching. Imagine the Buddha walking on a dusty road in ancient India. The sun is hot. The landscape is dry. He is followed by a group of his monks. Their saffron robes a splash of color against the brown earth. The Buddha himself is wearing a simple, patched robe, worn thin from years of use. But his steps are light, and his presence radiates a profound and gentle peace. A wealthy merchant, a devout follower of the Buddha's teachings, has been waiting for this day. He has commissioned the finest weavers in the land to create a magnificent robe for the Buddha. It is made of the softest, most luminous cloth, dyed a beautiful golden color. It is a garment fit for a king, and the merchant has spent a fortune on it. He sees the Buddha approaching, and his heart swells with pride and devotion. He runs to meet him, prostrates himself on the ground, and then, with great reverence, he presents the glorious robe. "Blessed one," he says, "please accept this humble offering. It is the finest robe in all the land. You, who are the teacher of gods and men, deserve to wear it." The Buddha stops. He looks at the magnificent robe, and then he looks at the merchant with eyes full of kindness. He accepts the gift with a gracious nod, acknowledging the merchant's sincerity and devotion. The merchant is overjoyed. His gift has been accepted. He has honored his teacher. The group continues on their way. A little further down the road, they come across a man huddled by the wayside. He is a beggar, thin and frail, his body racked with shivers despite the heat of the day. He is clothed in nothing but a few filthy, tattered rags that offer no protection from the elements. He looks up at the approaching group with hollow, hopeless eyes. Without a moment's hesitation, the Buddha walks over to the shivering beggar. He takes the brand new, magnificent golden robe, the gift he just received, the finest in the land, and he gently drapes it over the beggar's trembling shoulders. He then takes the beggar's filthy, lice-infested rags and puts them on himself. The wealthy merchant, who had been following at a distance to admire the sight of the Buddha in his new robe, sees this and is horrified. His jaw drops. He runs forward, sputtering, "Blessed One, what are you doing? That man is a filthy, worthless beggar. He is nobody. That robe was for you. It is wasted on him." The Buddha turns to the merchant, his expression one of infinite, patient compassion. He says, "This man was cold. I was not. The robe has gone where it was needed." Let those words settle into your awareness. The robe has gone where it was needed. This is the essence of true generosity. It is not guided by judgments of worthiness, status, or reputation. It is guided by a simple, clear-eyed perception of need. The Buddha saw a body that was cold and a body that was warm, and he moved the blanket. It was that simple. There was no calculation, no attachment to the story of the gift, no concern for what was appropriate. There was only the present moment and the most compassionate and effective response to it. True generosity sees need, not status. To give where it heals most is to align with the heart's quiet wisdom, flowing like water to the lowest places. How often do we hold back our own robes, our time, our attention, our kindness, our resources, because we are judging the recipient? We think, they don't deserve my help. They brought this on themselves. Or, what's the point of helping them? They'll just squander it. Or, I should save my energy for someone more important, someone who can help me in return. These are the calculations of the ego, not the wisdom of the heart. The heart simply sees the cold and offers warmth. It sees the hunger and offers food. It sees the sorrow and offers presence. This story invites us to practice a more fluid and responsive kind of giving in our own lives. It might be as simple as offering a genuine smile and your full attention to a service worker who looks tired and overlooked. That is giving the robe where it is needed. It might be listening without judgment to a friend who is complaining about the same problem for the 10th time, because you recognize their need is not for advice, but for connection. That is giving the robe where it is needed. It might be forgiving someone who doesn't deserve it, not for their sake, but because you recognize that your own heart is growing cold from holding onto the grudge. That is giving the robe to yourself where it is needed. This kind of giving is a powerful form of emotional healing. It frees us from the tight, constricted world of the ego, with its constant scorekeeping and judgment, and opens us up to the vast, interconnected flow of life. It is a letting go of control, a trust in the wisdom of the moment. As you lie here, preparing for deep sleep, perhaps you can practice this in a a subtle way? Can you offer a robe of kindness to a part of yourself that you usually judge? Perhaps there's a part of you that feels lazy or anxious or not good enough. Instead of berating it, can you gently drape a robe of acceptance over it? Can you see its coldness, its need for warmth and compassion, and offer it without condition? To my anxiety, I offer a robe of peace. You are just trying to keep me safe. It's okay. You can rest now. To my feeling of failure, I offer a robe of self-compassion. You are just a story. You are not the truth of who I am. To give freely is to trust the heart's compass, pointing always to what needs love. Let this feeling of unconditional warmth spread through your body. A soft, golden light. Let it soothe your nervous system and quiet your mind. There is nothing you need to earn or deserve. The robe of peace is yours to claim, simply because you are here, breathing, in need of rest. Yet what grows from life's lowest places? What beauty can emerge from the very conditions we judge as dirty, difficult, or undesirable? If generosity flows to the lowest ground, what do we find there? In the lesson from No Mud, No Lotus, you'll see how the most profound beauty rises from the heart of struggle, waiting for us to embrace it. For now, feel the warmth of the golden robe around your shoulders. It is the warmth of pure, unconditional acceptance. It is the peace that comes from a heart that gives without asking for anything in return. Rest in that warmth. Let it carry you into a deep, dreamless, and profoundly healing sleep. The Buddha's robe falls gently away, revealing the lotus that blooms from the mud's embrace. No mud, no lotus. Can the mud of hardship bloom into a lotus of peace? We spend so much of our lives trying to avoid the mud. We seek purity, cleanliness, comfort, and ease. We see struggle, pain, confusion, and sorrow as obstacles to our happiness, as stains on our ideal life. We believe that peace and enlightenment are to be found on a high, pristine mountaintop, far away from the messy, complicated, and often painful realities of human existence. But one of the most profound and hopeful teachings in all of Buddhism offers a radical reframe of this perspective. It is captured in a simple, powerful phrase, a mantra of resilience and transformation. No mud, no lotus. Tonight, as you seek the restful waters of deep sleep, let us wade into the meaning of this timeless wisdom. Let us learn to see our difficulties not as problems to be eliminated, but as the very soil from which our greatest beauty and wisdom can grow. Settle into your body. Feel its weight, its warmth, its simple earthy presence. Let go of the struggle against what is. Just for this moment, allow everything to be exactly as it is. Imagine a pond. It is not a crystal clear, sanitized swimming pool. It is a natural, living body of water. And at the bottom of this pond is a thick, rich layer of dark, murky mud. It is made of decay, rotting leaves, fish waste, decomposed matter. It is opaque, smelly, and by all conventional standards, dirty. This is the mud. In our lives, the mud is our suffering. It is our fear, our anger, our grief, our confusion, our trauma. It is our burnout, our loneliness, our self-doubt. It is all the messy, difficult, and painful stuff that we wish we could get rid of. It is the very ground of our human challenges. And from the heart of this mud, a single stem begins to grow. A lotus stem. It does not try to escape the mud. It is born from it. It draws its nourishment, its life force, its very substance from the rich, dark, fertile ground of the mud. The stem pushes slowly, patiently, upward through the murky water. The water represents the flow of daily life, with all its currents of activity, emotion, and interaction. The stem moves through it, steadily reaching for the light. And then it happens. The stem breaks the surface of the water, and a tightly closed bud emerges into the open air and the sunlight. And there, in the light of awareness, the lotus flower opens. Its petals are pristine, radiant, and perfectly formed. Not a single drop of mud, not a single stain from the murky water clings to it. It rests on the surface of the pond, a symbol of purity, beauty, and awakening, while its roots remain firmly anchored in the dark mud below. The lotus does not exist in spite of the mud. It exists because of the mud. The mud is not an obstacle to the lotus. It is an essential condition for its existence. This is the meaning of no mud, no lotus. Without our struggles, we cannot grow. Without our pain, we cannot cultivate compassion. Without our confusion, we cannot find clarity. Without our fear, we cannot develop courage. Our difficulties are not mistakes in the design of our life. They are the curriculum. They are the fertile soil that has been given to us for our spiritual growth. This teaching from Zen Master Thich, Enhat Han, and other Buddhist masters is a profound form of emotional healing. It changes our relationship with our own mud. Instead of seeing our difficulties as evidence that we are flawed or that life is against us, we can begin to see them with a new kind of respect and even gratitude. We can say to our anxiety, "You are the mud that can teach me about presence." "Hello, my grief," we can whisper. "You are the mud that will grow my heart into a vessel of deep compassion for all who suffer. Thank you, burnout. We might acknowledge you are the rich, dark soil that is forcing me to learn about setting boundaries and honoring my own needs. This is not about romanticizing or seeking out suffering. It is about learning how to handle the mud that life inevitably gives us. The practice is to not get stuck in the mud, wallowing in it, identifying with it, believing we are the mud, nor is it to try to live only in the flower, pretending the mud and the stem don't exist, which is a form of spiritual bypassing. The practice is to be the whole plant, to be rooted in the reality of our challenges, to patiently move through the waters of our daily lives, and to continually open to the light of awareness, allowing our innate beauty and wisdom to bloom. Without mud, there is no lotus. Without struggle, no awakening. As you lie here, on the edge of sleep, you can connect with this powerful image. Your bed can be the surface of the pond. The difficulties of your day, the worries that churn in your mind, the aches in your body, this is your mud. Don't fight it. Don't try to scrub it clean. Just acknowledge its presence. This is the mud I have today. And know that within this mud, the seed of a lotus is already present. Your innate capacity for peace, for wisdom, for love is right there waiting. It is your true nature. Your breath can be the stem. With each gentle inhale and exhale, feel yourself patiently, steadily rising toward the surface, toward the light. You don't have to force it. The growth is natural. It is happening on its own. And your awareness, this simple, quiet act of noticing your breath, of feeling your body, is the sunlight. In the light of your gentle, non-judgmental attention, the flower of your being can begin to unfold. There is no need to be perfect. There is no need to be free of all problems. You just need to be willing to be with your mud, trust in the process of growth, and open to the light. Let this be a soothing spiritual story that reframes your struggles. They are not a sign that you are failing. They are a sign that you are fertile. You have been given rich soil. Something beautiful is trying to grow. But what of the beauty that is already present all around us, completely independent of our struggles? What of the treasure that shines freely in every moment, unnoticed, while we are so focused on our mud and our lotuses? In the tale of the thief and the moon, we'll find a different kind of wealth, a beauty so simple and inherent that it is waiting for you to claim it, even now. For tonight, rest in the knowledge that everything in your life, the light and the dark, the joy and the pain, is part of your path. It is all compost for the flower of your heart. Allow yourself to sink into the rich, dark, and nourishing mud of deep, restorative sleep, trusting that on the other side, a new blooming awaits. The lotus unfolds its petals, reflecting the moon's quiet light in the thief's searching eyes. The Thief and the Moon. What if the treasure you seek is already shining above you? We live in a world that teaches us to seek our wealth outside of ourselves. We chase after money, possessions, status, experiences, and relationships, believing that if we can just acquire enough of the right things, we will finally be happy, finally be whole. We are like thieves in the night, creeping through the world, trying to grasp and possess things that we believe will enrich us, all the while oblivious to a treasure of infinite value that is freely given, constantly available, and impossible to steal. This little Zen story about a master named Ryokan is a gentle and profound reminder of where true wealth is found. It's a story to quiet the striving mind, to soothe the part of you that feels a sense of lack, and to open your eyes to the simple, inherent beauty of this very moment. Let your body sink deeper into relaxation. Let go of your goals, your ambitions, your to-do lists. Let go of the story of what you need to acquire to be happy. Just for these few moments, allow yourself to be completely, peacefully enough. Imagine a small, rustic hut nestled at the foot of a mountain. It is the home of Ryokan, a Zen poet and hermit who lived a life of profound simplicity. He owned almost nothing: a mat to sleep on, a bowl to eat from, a pot to cook in, and the patched robes he wore. Yet, he was known throughout the land for his joyful spirit and his deep sense of contentment. One evening, a thief, hearing that a master lived in the hut, decided to pay him a visit. The thief assumed that a man of such renown must have some hidden treasures. He crept up to the hut under the cover of darkness and slipped inside, his eyes scanning the simple room for anything of value. He found nothing. No money, no silks, no precious objects. There was only Ryokan himself, sleeping peacefully on his mat. Frustrated and disappointed, the thief started to make a noise, waking Ryokan from his sleep. The old master sat up, saw the thief, and his face broke into a warm, welcoming smile. There was no fear, no anger, only a kind of gentle, paternal concern. "Ah, you have come all this way to visit me," Ryokan said, his voice soft. "You must not leave empty-handed. It is a long journey back down the mountain." Ryokan looked around his bare hut, trying to find something to give his unexpected guest. His eyes fell upon the clothes he was wearing. "Please," he said, take my clothes as a gift." Before the thief could protest, Ryakan had taken off his robes and was holding them out. The thief was utterly bewildered. He had come to rob this man, and instead, he was being offered the man's only possessions. Confused and flustered, he snatched the clothes, mumbled something, and fled into the night. Ryakan was left sitting naked in his empty hut in the cold night air. But he was not sad or upset. He sat by the open door, looking out at the night sky. The moon was full and brilliant, casting a silver light over the entire landscape, bathing the trees and the mountains in a breathtaking, ethereal glow. And Ryakan, looking at the moon, felt a wave of compassion for the thief. He sighed and whispered to himself, "Poor fellow, I wish I could have given him this beautiful moon." Let that sentiment wash over you. I wish I could have given him this beautiful moon. The thief thought he was taking Ryakan's most valuable possession, the clothes. But Ryakan knew that the clothes were nothing. They were just temporary coverings. The real treasure was the moon, and the moon could not be given because it could not be owned. It was already freely available to anyone who took the time to look up. The thief was so focused on what he could grasp, what he could take, what he could possess, that he was completely blind to the infinite, ungraspable beauty that was shining down on him and the entire world. He was poor not because he lacked possessions, but because he lacked the awareness to appreciate what was already his. This story is a mirror for our own lives. We are so often that thief. We are consumed by our pursuit of robes, the tangible successes, the material gains, the external validation. We believe our happiness lies in acquiring these things, and in our frantic chase, we completely miss the moon. What is the moon in your life? It is the simple, profound, and freely given beauty that is always present, waiting to be noticed. The feeling of cool air on your face is the moon. The sound of rain tapping on the window is the moon. The intricate pattern on a leaf is the moon. The shared smile with a stranger is the moon. Your own heartbeat, a steady, faithful rhythm in the quiet of the night, is the moon. True wealth is the beauty always present, moonlight, breath, a moment's stillness. To see this is to rest in gratitude, needing nothing more. This is a deeply healing perspective for a mind caught in the cycle of striving and dissatisfaction, the "I'll be happy when" syndrome that causes so much stress and insomnia. It gently reminds you that the peace and contentment you are seeking are not in some future acquisition. They are right here, right now, in the simple act of opening your awareness to what is. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to achieve it. You just need to receive it. You just need to look up. The moon's light is free, yet only those who pause can claim its wealth. As you lie here, let go of being the thief. Let go of the search. Let go of the feeling that something is missing. You can feel poor in a palace if you have no eyes for the moon. And you can feel infinitely wealthy in a bare hut if you do. Tonight, the moon is shining for you. It is the peace of this quiet room. It is the comfort of your bed. It is the miracle of your body, breathing all by itself. Can you receive this gift? Can you let its gentle, silvery light fill you up, soothing away all feelings of lack, all striving, all fear? There is nothing to get. There is nowhere to go. You have already arrived. And what of our actions in the world? If we stop striving and simply rest in what is, how do we move? How do we create? Is there a way to act without the grasping ego of the thief? To achieve without the strain of ambition? In the story of the archer and no mind, you'll discover a freedom where effort falls away, leaving only the arrow's perfect, effortless flight. For now, there is only the moon, vast, silent, and beautiful. It holds you in its light. It asks nothing of you. Let this story be a lullaby for the restless, seeking part of your soul. Let it guide you into a deep sleep of profound contentment, a sleep where you are rich beyond measure, simply because you are here, under the light of this beautiful, ever-present moon. The moon's glow guides the thief to the archer's steady hand, where no mind finds its mark. The archer and no mind. What happens when you loose the arrow without aiming? This question seems like a paradox, a riddle without an answer. In our world, success is built on effort, intention, and control. To achieve a goal, we are taught to focus intensely, to aim precisely, to calculate every variable, and to exert our will upon the world. We believe that the I, the conscious, striving, effortful self, is the hero of every achievement. But Zen archery and the spiritual path it represents points to a radically different way of being and acting. It speaks of a state of no mind or mushin, where the archer, the arrow, and the target become one. It is a state where the I dissolves, and the action happens through you, not by you. It is a place of effortless perfection, of profound freedom, and it holds the key to moving through life with grace, ease, and uncanny effectiveness. As you rest your body, see if you can also rest your will. Let go of the need to control, to strive, to get it right. Allow yourself to simply be without a goal, without an agenda. Open your mind to the possibility of a different kind of power, one that arises from surrender, not from force. imagine an archer. He does not stand in a brightly lit, modern archery range. He stands in a misty valley at dawn. The air is still and silent. The target, far in the distance, is a mere whisper in the fog, a suggestion more than a solid object. This archer has trained for years, not just in the physical mechanics of holding the bow and drawing the string, but in the spiritual art of becoming one with the act. His master did not teach him to aim better, but to breathe deeper. He did not teach him to strengthen his arms, but to empty his mind. For years, the student struggled. He tried to force the arrow to hit the target. He focused with all his might. He tensed his muscles, held his breath, and willed the arrow to fly true. And he always missed. The more he tried, the more he failed. His effort created a subtle tremor of anxiety that threw off the shot every time. The eye, who was trying so hard, was the very obstacle to his success. "You must forget the target," his master would say. "You must forget the bow. You must forget yourself. When there is no one left to shoot, the arrow will find its own way." And so, this morning, the archer stands in the mist, and he is no longer trying. He is simply being. He holds the bow, but his grip is light, relaxed. He nocks an arrow, his movements fluid and unhurried, like water flowing. He raises the bow, not as a tool, but as an extension of his own body. He draws the string, and as he does not look at the target with sharp, focused eyes. His gaze is soft, his eyes unfocused, taking in the whole valley, the mist, the sky, the silence. He is not aiming at the target. He is becoming one with the space that contains the target. He breathes in and out. His mind is empty. There is no thought of success or failure. There is no ambition. There is no fear. There is no "I am shooting an arrow." There is only the breathing, the holding, the being. This is the state of no mind. It is not a blank trance, but a state of hyper-aware, fully present, choiceless awareness. And then it happens. The arrow is released, but the archer does not decide to release it. He does not let go. The release happens on its own, as naturally and inevitably as a ripe fruit falling from a tree. The shot shoots itself, and the arrow flies. It traces a perfect, silent arc through the mist, and it strikes the very center of the target with a soft, satisfying thwack. The archer does not celebrate. He does not feel pride. He simply bows, his heart filled with a quiet gratitude for the moment of unity he was allowed to experience. In no mind, the arrow and archer are one, and freedom is simply being. This story is a beautiful metaphor for a more graceful and effective way to live. So many of us live in a state of constant, low-grade performance anxiety, whether it's giving a presentation, having a difficult conversation, creating a piece of art, or even trying to fall asleep. We are like the struggling student archer. We are trying too hard. Our ego, our sense of I, gets in the way. I have to do this well. What if I fail? People are watching me. This internal chatter creates tension, self-consciousness, and resistance. It is the tremor that spoils the shot. The state of no mind is what modern psychology calls a flow state. It's that magical experience where you are so absorbed in an activity that your sense of self disappears. Time melts away. The action feels effortless, spontaneous, and perfect. You are not doing it, you are in it. It is flowing through you. This state is not just for athletes or artists. It is available to you in any moment where you can let go of the striving self and merge with the action at hand. Trying to fall asleep is a perfect example. The I that is trying to fall asleep is the very thing keeping you awake. I must sleep. Why am I not sleeping? I am failing at this. This is the struggling archer. The wisdom of no mind invites a different approach. Can you let go of the target of sleep? Can you forget the goal? Can you simply merge with the experience of lying in bed? You become the breath. You become the feeling of the blankets. You become the quiet darkness. There is no I trying to sleep. There is only the sensation of resting. And in that state of complete surrender, sleep happens on its own. It releases itself, just like the arrow. This is a profound form of letting go. It is the trust that when you get out of your own way, a deeper wisdom can operate through you. You stop trying to control life, and you allow life to live through you. This is not passivity. The archer still has to show up, pick up the bow, and draw the string. The discipline and practice are essential, but the final, crucial step is surrender. It is the release of the ego's grip. As you lie here, feel the tension of trying in your body and mind. The effort to be a good person, to be successful, to get everything right. And see if you can, just for this moment, let it go. You don't have to hit the target tonight. You don't have to achieve anything. You can simply rest in the quiet, empty, and spacious state of no mind. But what if this state of awakening, this no mind, is not something to achieve at all, even through surrender? What if all our efforts to become enlightened, to perfect ourselves, are like polishing a tile, hoping it will become a mirror? In the lesson from polishing a tile into a mirror, we'll see that you are already the mirror, reflecting the truth of what is, if you can only cease the endless, fruitless polishing. for now, be the archer after the shot. The bow is at rest. The arrow has flown. The valley is silent. There is only the soft mist, the quiet breath, and a deep, abiding peace. Let this stillness be your target, and let your surrender be the arrow that flies true, carrying you into the heart of a deep and effortless sleep. The arrow's flight dissolves into the tile's quiet shine, where polishing reveals what was always there. Why polish a tile to make a mirror when your heart already reflects the sky? In our spiritual and personal growth journeys, we often fall into a subtle but pervasive trap: the belief that awakening is something we must attain. We see ourselves as fundamentally flawed, incomplete, or unenlightened. And we believe that through diligent practice, meditation, self-inquiry, good deeds, we can gradually improve ourselves, polish away our imperfections, and one day, finally, become a mirror that reflects the truth. We are on a quest to become something we are not. This striving, however well-intentioned, is a form of suffering. It is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of our true nature. It is, as one Zen master famously pointed out, as futile as polishing a common roof tile, hoping to turn it into a shiny mirror. Tonight, this story invites you to lay down your polishing cloth. It offers the radical, restful, and deeply liberating news that you are not a tile to be improved. You are already the mirror. The work is not to become something different, but to recognize what you have always been. Allow your mind to become very still and quiet. Let go of all your projects of self-improvement. Let go of the story of your spiritual progress, or lack thereof. Let go of the idea that you are a work in progress. Just for now, entertain the possibility that you are already whole, already complete, already home. Imagine a monastery high in the mountains. A young, fiercely dedicated monk named Mazu is determined to attain enlightenment. He believes that the key is intensive, unceasing meditation. So, every day from dawn until dusk, he sits in the zazen posture, still as a stone, his mind focused like a laser. He barely eats, he barely sleeps. He is polishing his mind with all his might, trying to scrub away every last thought, every impurity, to achieve a state of perfect, mirror-like emptiness. His master, Huerang, watches him for some time with a compassionate and slightly amused eye. He sees the young monk's sincerity, but also his profound misunderstanding. One day, Master Huerang walks over to where Mazu is sitting, deep in his strenuous meditation. The master sits down nearby, picks up a rough terracotta roof tile, and begins to rub it vigorously with a piece of cloth. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound is loud and grating, impossible for Mazu to ignore. Mazu tries to maintain his concentration, but the relentless scraping sound is infuriating. It's drilling into his brain. Finally, he can't take it anymore. He opens his eyes, his face a mask of irritation. "Master," he says, "what on earth are you doing?" Master Huerang continues to polish the tile without looking up. "I'm polishing this tile," he says calmly. "Polishing it for what?" Mazu asks, his patience wearing thin. "I'm trying to make it into a mirror," the master replies, as if this were the most normal thing in the world. Mazu stares at him in disbelief, and then he bursts out laughing. "Master, you must be joking. That's impossible. You can polish a tile for 1,000 years, and it will never become a mirror. It's just a tile." Master Huerang stops polishing. He puts down the tile and the cloth, and he looks at his student with a deep, penetrating gaze. "Oh," he says, "and you think you can sit there for 1,000 years and through the effort of meditating, turn your ordinary mind into an enlightened Buddha?" The words strike Mazu like a thunderbolt. In that instant, he understands. He realizes that he has been treating himself like a tile. He has been believing that his fundamental nature is dull, opaque, and flawed, and that he has to do something to it, to change it into something else, a bright, shiny, enlightened mirror. The master's lesson was this: awakening is not created, it is recognized. Your true nature, your Buddha nature, is not something you attain. It is what you are right now. It is the very awareness that is hearing these words. It is the consciousness that is looking out through your eyes. It is already clear, already vast, already mirror-like. The problem is not that you are a tile. The problem is that you think you are a tile, and so you spend all your energy on the futile project of polishing. This is one of the most liberating teachings in all of Zen Buddhism. It is a profound release from the burden of spiritual ambition. It takes all the pressure off. You don't have to become worthy. You don't have to get rid of all your negative thoughts or emotions. You don't have to achieve some special, mystical state. All those thoughts, emotions, and states are like clouds passing in the sky. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. Or, in the metaphor of the story, they are like dust and smudges on the surface of the mirror. The mirror itself is never stained. Its nature is to reflect. It reflects the dusty thoughts, and it reflects the clean spaces between the thoughts, all with perfect, impartial clarity. The practice, then, is not to polish the mirror, but to simply stop identifying with with the dust. It is to shift your identity from the content of your mind to the awareness that holds that content. Realizing that awakening is not something to attain, but to recognize, is a deep form of emotional healing. It is the ultimate self-acceptance. It means that right now, in this very moment, with all your perceived flaws, all your messy history, all your confusion, you are already whole. You are already the mirror. So what does this mean for practice? Does it mean we just stop meditating and do nothing? Not at all. As the Master showed, he still sat down. But we sit not to become a Buddha, but to enjoy being a Buddha. We sit not to create peace, but to experience the peace that is already here, beneath the noise of the mind. Our practice becomes an act of recognition, not an act of construction. It's a resting back into our true nature. The tile needs no polishing. Your true self is already whole. As you lie here, preparing for sleep, let go of the polisher. Let go of the inner critic who is always telling you that you need to be better, calmer, more spiritual. That voice is the sound of someone trying to polish a tile. It is based on a false premise. Instead, see if you can feel the mirror-like quality of your own awareness. Notice how it is effortlessly reflecting everything that appears within it. The sensation of the blanket, the sound of your own breathing, a passing thought, a feeling of tiredness. The awareness itself is not tired. It is not touched by any of these things. It is just a clear, open, silent space. Rest as that space. That is your true home. That is the peace you have been seeking. You don't have to create it. You just have to notice that it's already here. Yet how do we live this profound truth in the midst of our ordinary, everyday lives? If enlightenment is our nature, how does it manifest when we are washing the dishes, paying the bills, or going to work? In the parable of chop wood, carry water, you'll find that awakening is not an escape from daily life, but a full, deep, and sacred immersion in it, waiting for us to step into the rhythm of ordinary tasks. For tonight, the work is done. The polishing has stopped. The tile has been set aside. There is only the vast, clear, silent mirror of your own being, reflecting the soft darkness of the room. Rest in that. Let it hold you. Let it be the gentle, effortless gateway to a profoundly deep and peaceful sleep. The tile's stillness carries us to the wood's quiet chop, where awakening hums in daily tasks. What if enlightenment is in the weight of the axe and the coolness of water? We have a tendency to compartmentalize our lives. We have our spiritual time when we meditate, pray, or read inspiring books. And then we have our ordinary time when we work, clean and deal with the mundane tasks of daily existence. We imagine that awakening is something that happens in the special, quiet moments, and that the rest of our life is just a distraction, something to be gotten through so we can get back to the real practice. But what if this division is an illusion? What if the path to inner peace is not found by escaping our daily lives, but by entering into them more fully, more presently, more sacredly than ever before? This is the profound and grounding wisdom captured in one of the most famous Zen sayings. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Let this teaching be a great permission slip for you tonight. A permission to find the sacred right where you are, in the simple, rhythmic, and often overlooked moments of your life. Let go of the idea that peace is somewhere else. It is here, waiting in the heart of the ordinary. Settle into the rhythm of your own breath, the simple, repetitive, life-sustaining act of breathing in and breathing out. This is your body's own chop wood, carry water. It is the constant, faithful task that keeps you alive. Find the sacredness in that. Imagine a young monk who goes to a Zen master, eager to learn the secrets of enlightenment. He is full of grand ideas about mystical visions, cosmic consciousness, and transcendent states of bliss. He asks the master, "What is the path? What must I do to become awakened?" The master tells him, "Go to the kitchen and wash the rice. Go to the forest and chop wood for the fire. Go to the well and carry water for the monastery." The young monk is disappointed. He thought he would be taught secret meditation techniques or be given a profound philosophical koan to solve. Instead, he is being asked to do menial chores, the same kind of work he did back in his village. But having committed to the path, he obeys. For years, he chops wood and carries water. He washes rice, sweeps the floors, and tends the garden. At first, his mind is full of resentment and boredom. This isn't spiritual practice, he thinks. This is just work. When does the real training begin? His mind wanders as he works, thinking about the past, dreaming of the future, lost in a fog of mental chatter. He chops the wood mechanically. He carries the water impatiently. But slowly, over time, something begins to shift. His master offers him no other instruction but to be present with his tasks, and so the monk begins to pay attention. When he chops wood, he starts to feel the solid weight of the axe in his hands. He notices the rough texture of the bark. He listens to the sharp crack as the wood splits cleanly. He smells the fresh, earthy scent of the pine. His mind, which was once a million miles away, starts to arrive in the simple, sensory reality of the act itself. There is just the chopping. He and the axe and the wood become one. When he carries water, he feels the strain in his shoulders, the coolness of the buckets against his legs. He watches the water sloshing, reflecting the sky. He feels each footstep on the path from the well to the monastery. His mind is no longer rushing ahead to the destination. It is fully present with the journey. There is just the carrying. He and the buckets and the water become one. He continues this practice for many years, chopping wood, carrying water, and in the heart of these simple, repetitive, ordinary tasks, his mind becomes clear, calm, and present. His sense of a separate, striving I begins to dissolve. One day, as he is carrying 2 full buckets of water, the bamboo pole across his shoulders suddenly snaps. The buckets fall to the ground, the water spills out, and in that instant, he awakens. He experiences a profound moment of enlightenment. He runs to his master, his heart overflowing with joy and gratitude. Master, I understand. I am awakened. The master smiles, a deep, knowing smile. That is wonderful, he says. Now, what will you do? The monk thinks for a moment, and a peaceful, radiant clarity shines in his eyes. He bows to the master and says, "Now, I will go chop some wood and carry some more water." Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The tasks are a chore, a means to an end. The mind is somewhere else, resisting the present, longing for a different reality. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The tasks are the same. The external reality has not changed, but the internal reality has been transformed. Now, the chopping of wood is the practice. The carrying of water is the meditation. Each act is complete in itself, an end in itself. It is performed with full, loving, undivided attention. Awakening is not an escape from life. It is a total arrival into life. It is not found in a cave on a mountain, but in your kitchen, at your desk, in your car. It is the discovery of the sacred in the so-called profane, the eternal in the everyday. This is a deeply practical and compassionate teaching for our busy, modern lives. It tells us that we don't have to wait for a special retreat or a quiet moment to find peace. We can find it right now in whatever we are doing. When you are washing the dishes, you can just wash the dishes. Feel the warm water on your hands, see the soap bubbles, hear the clink of the plates. That is your Zen. When you are driving to work, you can just drive. Feel the steering wheel in your hands, see the road ahead, hear the sound of the engine. That is your meditation. When you are lying in bed, unable to sleep, you can just lie in bed. Feel the texture of the sheets, Notice the rhythm of your breath. Listen to the quiet sounds of the night. That is your practice. To live fully in each task is to touch the eternal. You stop treating the present moment as a stepping stone to some better future moment, and you begin to inhabit it as your true and only home. This practice calms the nervous system because it stops the frantic, future-oriented thinking that fuels anxiety. It brings you out of the stressful stories in your head and into the simple, grounding reality of your senses. Each chop, each step, is a doorway to the infinite if we are present. So tonight, as you lie here, let go of the search for a special state. The task at hand is simply to rest. Can you bring your full, gentle, loving attention to the act of resting? Feel the chop of your inhale and the carry of your exhale. Let each breath be a complete, sacred act. There is nothing else you need to do. There is nowhere else you need to be. Just this. Chop wood, carry water, breathe in, breathe out. And what of the choices that arise within this present moment awareness? How do our actions, born from a state of presence or a state of reactivity, shape the world we experience? In the final tale of our journey tonight, the samurai and the gates of paradise, we'll see how each moment's response builds heaven or hell, not as distant places, but as immediate realities unfolding right before you. For now, rest in the simple, profound peace of the ordinary. The wood is chopped, the water is carried, the day is done. All that is left is the gentle, rhythmic task of breathing your way into a deep and healing sleep. The axe's rhythm fades into the samurai's choice, where paradise awaits at the gate. Here, at the close of this journey, you may discover that what you sought in sleep was something greater, the peace to live, awaken, and breathe with freedom. And if you feel moved, share in the comments one truth this series has opened for you. From every corner of the world, we arrive together at these gates and step through into stillness, into peace, into paradise. The samurai and the gates of paradise. What if paradise and hell are not places you go to after you die, but gates you choose to walk through with every single breath? We have journeyed far tonight through many landscapes of the heart and mind. We have seen the wisdom of the empty boat, the freedom of letting go of burdens, the compassion born from shared sorrow, and the peace found in ordinary tasks. Now, we arrive at the final gate, the culmination of all these teachings. This story reveals that the ultimate power lies not in controlling the world outside us, but in choosing our response to it, moment by moment. It teaches that our inner state creates our outer world, and that heaven and hell destinations, but decisions. As we begin this final story, let your awareness be sharp and clear, yet soft and receptive. This is not a lesson to be analyzed, but a truth to be felt. It is the key to creating your own peace, right here, right now. Imagine a fierce and proud samurai warrior. His name is Nobushige. He is a man of high rank, renowned for his skill with the sword, his courage in battle, and his immense, intimidating pride. He has killed many men and fears no one. But there is one question that haunts him, a question his sword cannot answer. He wants to know about heaven and hell. Are they real? And if so, where are they? He hears of a wise old Zen master named Hakuin, who lives in a small temple nearby. People say this master is deeply enlightened and holds the keys to life's great mysteries. So, the samurai, in his full armor, with his 2 swords at his side, goes to find him. He storms into the temple, his heavy footsteps echoing on the wooden floors. He finds Hakuin, a small, unassuming old man, quietly sipping tea. The contrast between the two is immense. The towering, armored warrior radiating power and aggression, and the small, robed monk radiating a profound and unshakable calm. The samurai stands before the master, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. He does not bow. He does not show respect. He looks down at the monk and bellows, in a voice accustomed to commanding armies, "Old man, teach me, where are the gates of heaven and hell?" Master Hakuin looks up from his tea, his eyes slowly taking in the warrior from his dirty sandals to his arrogant sneer. He looks at him for a long moment, a flicker of what seems like disdain in his eyes. Then Hakuin says, in a voice dripping with contempt, "Teach you? Why would I waste my time teaching the likes of you? You are a crude, foolish, ill-mannered lout. Look at you. Your armor is rusted, your breath is foul, and you carry yourself like a common thug, not a noble samurai. You are a disgrace to your class. Get out of my sight. I have no teachings for an idiot like you." The samurai is stunned. No one has ever spoken to him this way. His face turns from pale to red, and then to a deep, dark purple. The insult strikes at the very core of his pride, his identity. An uncontrollable rage, hot as lava, surges through his entire being. His mind goes blank with fury. He lets out a roar of pure, homicidal anger. With a lightning-fast movement, he draws his great, sharp sword from its sheath and raises it high above his head, ready to strike the monk down, to cut him in two for this unforgivable insult. His world has shrunk to a single point: the destruction of this insolent old man. In that very instant, As the samurai's sword is poised to strike, Master Hakuin looks up at him, his expression calm and unwavering. He points his finger directly at the warrior's furious face and says, quietly but with immense power, that right there is the gate of hell. The samurai freezes. His arm, holding the heavy sword, trembles in midair. The master's words cut through his rage like a beam of pure light. He understands. In that moment, he saw it. Hell was not a place of fire and brimstone in the afterlife. Hell was the state of his own mind, right then and there. It was the consuming fire of his own rage, the blinding darkness of his own hatred, the prison of his own reactive ego. He had opened the gate himself and was standing fully within it. A wave of awe washes over him. The recognition is so sudden, so profound, so utterly true. His rage dissolves as quickly as it had appeared. His body softens. His arm lowers, overwhelmed with gratitude and humility for this incredible teaching, a teaching given at the risk of the master's own life. The samurai slowly, reverently, sheaths his sword. He drops to his knees and bows his head to the floor before the great master, his heart filled with a deep, quiet peace and a profound sense of release. Tears of gratitude well up in his eyes. And as he kneels there, in that state of humility, peace, and heartfelt gratitude, Master Hakuin smiles gently and says, and that, right there, is the gate of paradise. Heaven and hell are not places, but the heart's response, moment by moment. This is the final lesson. It gathers all the others into a single, actionable truth. When we are caught by an external event, when another boat bumps into ours, we have a choice. We can react with anger, blame, and pride. We can draw our sword. In that moment, we open the gate of hell. We experience suffering, separation, and inner turmoil. Or we can choose to respond with awareness, with humility, with compassion, with a maybe. We can sheathe our sword. In that moment, we open the gate of paradise. We experience peace, connection, and inner freedom. The gate is always right here. The choice is always yours. Every breath is an opportunity to choose which gate you will walk through. This is the ultimate form of emotional healing. It is the realization that you are the creator of your own inner world. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the samurai with your hand on the sword, and you have the power to choose. As you lie here, on the threshold of sleep, you stand before these two gates. The gate of hell is the gate of anxious, racing thoughts. The gate of worry about tomorrow. The gate of replaying the grievances of yesterday. enter it is to experience the restless, suffering mind. The gate of paradise is the gate of the gentle breath, the gate of the quiet, sensory awareness of your body resting, the gate of gratitude for this simple, peaceful moment. To enter it is to experience the calm, restful mind. Which will you choose? You can choose paradise now, simply by sheathing the sword of your thinking mind and bowing to the simple, humble reality of this present moment. Feel the peace that is already here. Feel the gratitude for this day, for this rest, for this life. This is heaven. It is not far away. It is right here. And so we return to the empty boat, where no one steers but the current of your choices. In the parable of the empty boat, we began this journey of Zen stories for deep sleep and inner peace. And now you can see how its lesson ripples through every gate you face. When the samurai saw the monk as an empty boat, not a personal antagonist, but a teacher creating conditions for his awakening, he was able to sheath his sword. He chose the gate of paradise. The journey is complete, and yet it is always beginning. Each moment is a new river, a new choice, a new gate. But now you have the wisdom. You have the map. You know how to find peace. It is not in a different place or a different time. It is in a different response, a response of compassion, of letting go, of presence. The samurai's choice lingers like a ripple, carrying us back to the empty boat where all begins anew. Let that ripple of peace carry you now out onto the vast, silent ocean of deep, restorative sleep. You have done enough. You have learned enough. Now it is time to rest in the paradise of this quiet moment, this gentle breath. Sleep now. Everything is okay. If ever your heart feels heavy, or your mind longs for stillness, know that this place will always be here, quietly waiting for you. Zen Buddhism healing will be here. A space of rest beyond thought, a place to return to again and again. Whenever you need, you're welcome. Welcome to the peace that was always yours. Sleep now. Sleep well.